never train another generation of Jedi. I came to this island to die.
Yeah, so did this film, Mr. Hamill. The sequels don't really give us any believable moment of succession between student and teacher, or earn the progression of the story, or its blank slate of a main character. Now, again, it didn't have to do what Lucas did, but if you're gonna do your own thing, it ought to be a good thing, right? The problem with the Disney sequels is that where they try to imitate the originals, they fail. But where they try to be original, they also fail. They pick the wrong elements to recycle, and the new elements are just bad ideas. Stuff just kind of happens in the sequels because the films insist that they do. But they fail to convince us of what they show us and that we should care, regardless of how poorly they were considered or sequenced. Oh, I'm a Jedi. Oh, Snoke's all powerful. Oh, he's not. Oh, the Emperor's back now. Yay, he's really dead now. Oh, the good guys win, for real this time now.
And there was much rejoicing.
The Lucas-penned Star Wars films do a job of patiently earning the vision of the story. They're not perfect, but most everyone concedes that they're considerably better. As I've said before, the sequels' missteps were so numerous and frequent that the films themselves serve as the most complete compilation of their own suckiness. If you want to know how they fail, just watch them and start counting.
Don't try it!
Okay, Ben Ken, I won't. By the way, I've done it once already, quite pointedly, and that'll suffice. Instead, it's more helpful to coolly contrast the previous scenes of Succession with this scene of Succession. The handoff from Luke to Rey never really happens. While they try to make up for that later with certain forced moments, the results are less satisfying because of the structure of the films themselves. We get the feeling that the things that intended to qualify as challenges in training, when they do happen, are more like checkboxes or disclaimers. They're shown, but they feel hollow. They feel less real. The Last Jedi was someone's attempt to subvert expectations. What was subverted, powerfully and intentionally, was the original IP, but also the first sequel film, which was also not good, but a little better than this. Luke's death via the strain of a sort of astral plane force projection seems an obvious attempt to echo Kenobi's self-sacrifice and path. The problem's that, in The Last Jedi, it's too easy to believe that it's unnecessary. We're not convinced that this death was needed or that it even helped. And as substitute storytellers, we can imagine a million other strategies that might have been taken, none of which requires this kind of careless waste. It's dramatically stupid. By contrast, in A New Hope, the events we witness logically stack to force the fatal face-off between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader. Obi-Wan, Luke and company are trapped with no way out but to fight. Sure, it's basic, but it's also believable. And it advances the plot without any distracting doubts as to why what happened, happened. By virtue of circumstance, in Episode 4, Obi-Wan has no way out alive, which makes his death an acceptance of the inevitable, but a calculated, worthwhile sacrifice nonetheless.
You can't win, but there are alternatives to fighting.
While Obi-Wan selflessly gives in to the inevitable, Luke just gives up, selfishly and in an unfortunately cowardly way, which is profound because it demonstrates that someone in charge has a fundamental misunderstanding or disregard of what sacrifice even means. The Star Wars shortcomings are the result of both intention and incompetence, to different degrees and at different times. Sacrifice is not lofty when it's used to aggrandize a character or oneself. Righteous sacrifice is the recognition of the necessity of willful surrender to something higher, not a disregard for life itself. Sacrifice is not done for the sake of vanity, but for substantive good. And that difference The one between values versus vanity also happens to be the difference between Star Wars and its would-be successors.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
Watching the sequels is watching an undoing, followed by a write-off of legacy characters and a progression toward a series of incongruent story beats. Given the legacy of this series, whether or not this was intentional is important concerning matters of intrigue, but in terms of pure film, not as much. So we'll leave this at this. The sequels should have really been named a series of unfortunate MacGuffins, because what they seem to convey is an inferiority complex and a personal distaste for its origin. Okay. Of course, a writer or director can portray a character in an infinite number of ways. But even taking fan service off the table, did this particular approach to be novel make this story better? And is it sufficiently believable, given what the previous films told us about this character's defining character? I don't think it is believable. And I suspect most of you don't either.
Did you guess which thing is not like the other things? Did you guess with all your might? If you guessed that this thing is not like the other things, you know what? You're right.